Hello to my friends at Dyersburg Primary School. Today I have a book I want to share with you that goes along with your unit, Imagine It, Make It, Things We Build. And today we're going to talk about Iggy Peck, architect. Last week we did Rosie Revere, engineer. Do you remember? This is by the same author. It's part of the series. And if you'll see, do you remember we were talking about the graph paper that keeps everything all neat and straight when you're building? And when you build, and when you are an architect or an engineer, a lot of times you draw out what you're going to do ahead of time, and that's why we're talking about that graph paper that keeps everything all nice and neat and uniform. Uniform's a good word, isn't it? It means everything's the same size. So Iggy Peck, architect, is written by Andrea Beaty. She's the author, so she wrote the words, and it's illustrated by David Roberts. So he is the person who drew the pictures for this book. There's more graph paper. See all the squares inside the squares inside the squares? This book was published by Abrams Books for young readers in New York, and there is Iggy Peck, the architect. And look at all of those tools that you can use for measuring. Architects use tools for measuring. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay. Young Iggy Peck is an architect and has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. When we go to the building center, I know we build with a lot of different things, but have you ever built something out of diapers? I have never built anything out of diapers. I'd be interested to know if you've built something out of diapers. Good gracious, Ignatius, his mother exclaimed. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized those diapers weren't clean. Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting. It's nasty. It stinks. He used some dirty diapers. That's pretty yucky. Let's not build with dirty diapers. But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. Look at that. I don't think his neighbors liked that. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples and temples from modeling clay. Look at all of the things that Iggy is building. He doesn't use just blocks, does he? He's using peaches and apples and modeling clay. Let's find out what else he uses now that he's not using dirty diapers anymore. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. I think it would be kind of hard to build with pancakes. Dear Ig had made it until 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the very first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings, ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. And there's Miss Lila Greer throwing away all of the architectural books, and there's all the kids listening except Iggy. What is Iggy doing? Let's see what Iggy's doing. That might seem severe, but she was sincere, for when she was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 99th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. There she is. Look at all those tall buildings. See, she's right by the big pane of glass looking out, and she's all alone. She's kind of scared. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator eating cheese with a French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that above all, one ought to avoid them. No ifs, ands, or buts. And there's her picture of her in the stuck elevator with all the circus people eating cheese. And there is all of the things. There's some more of the circus people. There's a helicopter that's might have been looking for her. As you might guess, this would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. Did you see the chalk before? Look really close. Can you see how Iggy made a castle out of chalk? And there's his teacher. You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howe? Ooh. Do you think he'll have to go to the principal? No, ma'am, Iggy said, and he lowered his head and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now, second grade was a bore. Poor Iggy. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. And look at how the words go down here, like they're walking down the words, like it's grass. There they go. They're on their old-fashioned picnic. Poor Iggy. Look at Iggy. Does he look happy? He's so sad. Let's find out what happens. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed, and Miss Lila Greer started to scream. We're trapped here. Oh my, alas, kids, goodbye. Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound. Luckily fainted, not dead. Oh, there's Miss Lila Greer fainting. There's the footbridge all falling apart, and look at the words are falling apart too. I love it when they do that. But the footbridge went all the way into the stream. Now they're on the island, stuck just like Miss Lila Greer was stuck before. Let's find out what happens now. The class was amazed. They stood there, quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man was off hatching a plan, which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. Look at there. She's got her shoe. They've got some trees. They were getting stuff out of the picnic basket. I think they've got some shoes. They're all taking off their shoes. He drew a picture, just like we were talking about, on the graph paper. He drew it in the sand, didn't he? And he told everybody what he was going to do. Let's find out what happens. Let's find out. And when she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces. And on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Look, there's Miss Lila Greer waking up, and they built a bridge back across, and they all walked back over to the other side. Boots, tree roots, and strings, fruit roll-ups, and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge on a glorious bridge, dangling from shoestring suspension. We're going to look at that really close. We're going to see if we can find the thing that we're not supposed to mention. Did you know that a lot of times people call unmentionables, they say unmentionables, and that's when they're talking about their underwear. Can you find some underwear in that picture? Do you see some underwear? I saw the underwear! It's like a flag on top. It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. And that actually is a bridge, a real bridge, isn't it? And it says, tells you how high it is and how many feet it is and when it opened. And it looks a lot like Iggy's bridge, but it doesn't have shoestrings and it doesn't have underwear. Now every week at Blue River Creek Elementary in grade 2, all the snowflakes can hear, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. I don't think the snowflakes are listening. That's so funny. Miss Vanessa must be wanting it to snow. The weekly guest speaker, in a t-shirt and sneakers, talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course, he's the guy who builds towers of pie. That brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. So Iggy found his way, didn't he? There's some more graph paper. And there's the back of the book. Iggy found a way to be himself in 2nd grade, didn't he? And Miss Lila learned a lesson, didn't she? Just because she was scared didn't mean that everybody had to be scared of buildings. And sometimes it's good to revisit something that made you scared because it might be something that you like later. I hope that you have fun today building. I hope that you get to go to the Block Center and that you get to make a great tower and you could work together just like Iggy did with his friends. And I want you to remember that here at the library, we have some things that we do that center around building too. We love books, don't we? And there's a lot of books back here behind me that talk about building and things that you can do. Some of them are things that you can take home and they'll tell you how to make something out of a box or make something out of Legos. And we also have Lego kits here. If you're interested in a free Lego kit, have your mom call the library and we'll tell her all about it, okay? Okay, so you have a good day and be really good for your teachers, and we will see you next week when we talk about art all around us. Have a great day. Bye-bye.